and it is my pleasure to welcome you all for another round of Stakeholder Outreach Initiative by P3 World Council. It's been a pleasure and a welcome experience bringing you perspectives from across the globe on how PPPs are shaping up, how economies and markets are recovering, and how nations are responding with regards to the COVID-19 pandemic that has hit in an unprecedented way to all of us. Our lifestyles have changed, markets have become uncertain, and we all need to stand together in these uncertain times. Today, we bring to you a perspective from Central Asia, a country called as Kazakhstan. Central Asia has always acted as a crossroad for the movement of people, goods, and ideas between Europe, Western Asia, South Asia, and East Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today Jannat Salimova-Tekay, who is an independent consultant with the Asian Development Bank and a business development partner with the Unicase law firm. Before I begin with our interaction, let me give you a brief introduction about Jannat. Jannat specializes in provision of professional services on project financing and PPP to companies in renewable energy, transportation, social infrastructure, and other sectors. She has more than 20 years of experience in the field of banking with emphasis on PPP and project finance and infrastructure financial development. She has advised governments and private investors on regulatory improvements to attract investments into renewable energy, municipal infrastructure, PPP, and other infrastructure-related topics. Jannat has advised several early-stage renewable energy projects in Kazakhstan, especially wind and solar, and have raised the financing for several large-scale wind projects. The bulk of the projects she has worked on are related to Central Asia, Caucasus, and South Europe regions, with particular emphasis on projects for IFIs such as EBRD, World Bank, ADB. She has worked on diverse assignments related to Kazakhstan, Turkey, Georgia, Kyrgyz Republic, Bulgaria. Jannat, welcome to this initiative of P3 World Council, and thank you for giving your time for this interaction.
Harshal, thank you very much for this excellent introduction. A lot of facts that I've almost forgotten about myself. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jannat. Let's begin. Jannat, my first question, of course, to you is to understand how has been the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on Kazakhstan, and because we're hearing a lot about how Kazakhstan is, though in these uncertain times and difficult times, I'm hearing a lot of positive news coming in from your country. So could you please brief us about how the impact has been, especially about the COVID-19 on the business environment in your country?
COVID has started here in Kazakhstan in March, and since then we've been hit twice. Okay. The first impact was certainly on the slowdown of the business and on the hit that the services and the SME companies have had to sustain because of the quarantine. And the second impact was on the plummeting of the oil prices, because Kazakhstan enjoys around 70% of its exports from hydrocarbons, and for this oil exporting country, this was an important blow. Okay. And as of now, we've had two quarantines. One lasted for a month and a half, and the second one again in a month and a half. Mm-hmm. The World Bank predicts or expects that the hit on the GDP would be around 3%. Mm-hmm. By the end of the year. This shock is the hardest for the country for more than 2 decades. Mm-hmm. All sectors that require human interaction have been hit the worst: services, entertainment, travel, tourism. We've experienced devaluation of the local currency as well. Okay. By around 15%. Okay. So it's been hard.
It's like you mean to say it's like on multiple fronts the economy has got impacted because of the COVID-19, considering the local dynamics. Which are the sectors that have got severely impacted, Jannat, in your country, in Kazakhstan?
Well, I guess here we're very much like the other countries. As I said, those sectors that require human interaction have been affected the most. And these
Okay.
are the SMEs and the services such as restaurants and barber shops and fitness
Okay.
halls.
Mm-hmm.
The other important sector that's been affected severely is the education,
Okay.
schools, higher education facilities and establishments like universities and institutes.
Okay.
These were hard hit as well, and certainly the passenger transport like rail and air.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Lastly, the entertainment sector. Again, we're not very
Yes.
much original here from the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the theaters and galleries and museums and cinema halls, these were also quite severely affected.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. How do you, Jannat, I've been reading a lot about Kazakhstan coming up with PPP projects and announcing a few PPP projects as well. How do you see the outlook for PPP projects, especially in Kazakhstan, in the light of the current pandemic and the road to recovery? What's your views about that?
Thank you for the question. It's really an interesting one because this question allows me to talk about something positive, something optimistic. And
Okay.
and the good thing is that the projects are moving on.
Mm-hmm.
We have recently heard about the financial close of the largest PPP project in the region of Central Asia, which is Bakad project. And Bakad stands for the Big Almaty ring road.
Okay.
It's a toll road
Mm-hmm.
that has been structured with the help of IFC Transaction Advisory. They started working on the project quite a while ago, and finally we have had the financial close last week, which is very good news. The
That's a
project will
good
be
positive
financed.
news. Especially in the
Yeah,
midst of the crisis, it's a very positive news.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be financed by the EBRD
Okay.
and the local development bank called Eurasia Development Bank, and with the help of Islamic Development Bank. So
Okay.
these three are the anchor banks. They will be, or probably already have, arranged for the B loans structures to
Mm-hmm.
attract the commercial banks to
Mm-hmm.
join forces with them. So
Mm-hmm.
this is good news. The other good news is that the structuring of the new projects is also ongoing. And
Okay.
here, I guess we're lucky because most of these projects have been structured with the assistance of the international financial institutions like
All
the
right.
Asian Development Bank and the EBRD. And these projects are still moving on.
Okay.
Yes, they have indeed slowed down
Mm.
because of the travel restrictions. The consultants have been strained and were not able to visit. And because of the working from home mode,
Mm.
some government decisions have slowed down. But with
Yes.
that in mind, these projects are still going on. And these
Okay.
projects are in the healthcare PPP and the
Okay.
urban transport PPPs. They
Mm-hmm.
are indeed going on.
All right. So what I understand from what you're saying is, I mean, healthcare, energy, and transportation are some of the vital areas that Kazakhstan is looking forward to, build up through PPP models. If I'm getting it correct.
Yes, you are getting it correct. Thank you. Harshal, this is where Kazakhstan feels the greatest need in
Mm-hmm.
terms of infrastructure, in terms
Okay.
of basic infrastructure. It's the healthcare, it's our dilapidated power system, and certainly our transport, especially urban transport, which is
Okay.
very much needed
Mm-hmm.
given the environmental concerns that the large cities
Mm-hmm.
feel in Central Asia.
All right. So, Janet, when you say energy, I mean, when I read about your bio, you have mentioned about renewable energy. But apart from that, how is the outlook for the utilities sector? So, when I say utilities, especially the power and water. So, is Kazakhstan doing something on that front?
Yes, in the utility sector, Kazakhstan has recently adopted quite a large program to modernize, expand, or bring greenfield projects for wastewater treatment
Okay.
facilities.
Okay.
And the aim is to have 57 wastewater treatment facilities rehabilitated and modernized.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, ADB and the EBRD have joined forces in providing the financing facilities for the government
All right.
in order to implement this program.
Okay.
And the aim is to have these projects structured in such a manner that there
Mm-hmm.
would be greater private sector participation in these projects, not only in the design and build, but
Mm-hmm.
also in the subsequent operation and management of these facilities.
All right, that's glad to know. So, Jannat, can you share with us, like, one or two or key projects that you see as upcoming projects, especially in PPPs in Kazakhstan for our global viewers?
In the PPPs, I would certainly prioritize the healthcare PPPs. The
Okay.
government is currently working on at least 3 such projects.
All right.
One with the help of the EBRD here in Almaty,
Okay.
one with the help of ADB, where
Okay.
ADB's transaction advisory is assisting with the structuring of project in Karaganda city, the second largest in Kazakhstan.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also negotiations with IFC in
Mm-hmm.
terms of engaging their transaction advisory services to help them structure another healthcare facility also here in Almaty.
Okay.
With that in mind, they're also trying to structure other greenfield healthcare facilities,
Mm-hmm.
but not as PPPs, but rather as government projects
Okay.
where some sort of design build um, um, contracts would be probably financed
Okay.
out of IFC or EBRD or ADB loans.
All right. Okay. 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 That's glad to know. Janet, when we interact with our when we interact with the global stakeholders and have discussions about especially PPP projects, one issue or one aspect that usually comes out is the bankability of PPP projects, which has been an issue across the world. But however, having said that, every region has its own challenges and issues. So, and you being an experienced professional from in the region, especially Central Asia, and in focus to Kazakhstan, can you share with us some brief issues and challenges very specific to Kazakhstan that PPP projects face?
Yes, I am not sure if they're very specific to Kazakhstan or unique to Kazakhstan, because I
Okay.
have seen these issues arising in PPP projects in other countries as well.
Okay.
And these are the usual suspects,
Okay.
the international arbitration,
Yes.
FX risk
Yes.
guarantees, or hedging or assistance from the government to hedge FX risks,
Exactly. Yeah.
termination arrangements,
Mm-hmm.
and also guaranteeing that those termination arrangements are can indeed be met by governments and the
Mm-hmm.
mechanisms are in place.
Okay.
So these are the 3 most um, common
Okay.
issues that PPP projects in Kazakhstan currently face.
All right.
There can be other things which would be project specific, like the various local regulations and the various issues with regard to the standards. All these things will need to be gradually
Correct.
lifted or dealt with in
Yes.
every project case by case. But
Mm-hmm.
the 3 that I have mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
international arbitration, foreign exchange risk, and termination arrangements, these are more or less general to all PPP projects in our country.
I understand that. In fact, I mean, you reiterated and you echoed the problems you rightly mentioned. These are faced across the world, and especially now since markets have got impacted and they have become uncertain. The risk appetite has certainly gone down, and it's like we all need to support and bring that confidence back in the markets, and enable the green shoots back for the economy. Janet, when I read about your profile on LinkedIn, I got to know that you are also working as an independent consultant with the Asian Development Bank. I would like to now ask you a question from the other side of the table. Since you have mentioned to me the issues and challenges, what do you think, as an experienced professional, you have spent a lot of time on PPP projects, advising and structuring finance and a lot of other angles on PPP projects. What do you think governments should be doing to increase the bankability of PPP projects, to bring the confidence back, and to have a win-win situation for private sector participation, for investors, and have a growth back again on PPP projects? So your views on that, please.
I have worked not only for ADB, but also for the EBRD and for IFC,
Yes.
but I'm not sure if I would be able to voice their views. Therefore, I
Okay.
will voice my own.
Exactly.
And the
That's why
way
I
I
asked you your experience as an independent professional. What are
yes.
your views about it?
Well, my view is that certainly uh, there should be greater attention to and less of how to say, what's the right word, less of a concern with regard to providing international arbitration in the contracts. I
Okay.
think this should be norm, and this should be regarded and expected, regarded as norm and expected in any PPP project,
Okay.
because this is very important. This is a very important and the key and the classical element of any PPP or project finance arrangement anywhere in the world, and
Okay.
Kazakhstan should not be treated as an exception here.
Correct.
So that's the first thing. The second thing I would think is that most IFIs have spent a lot of time
Hmm.
on, so the gestation period is very lengthy.
Okay.
So my personal wish or request would be to try and speed up the decision-making process within the governments.
Exactly.
Because it's usually that the consultants should do everything quickly. You know,
Yeah.
you should be providing us reports yesterday,
Hmm.
and then 6 months nothing happens.
And I understand.
Or
I understand.
yes,
That's
we have to go back and forth, changing things, explaining things, presenting things, but the decisions themselves, it takes too long sometimes for the important decisions to be made from the government side.
that's
So
true.
that would be the second concern. And the third would be that PPP does not consist of concession agreement only.
Okay.
Direct agreements are an integral part
Hmm.
of any PPP project. We
Okay.
have seen here in Kazakhstan that, you know, it takes more than a year
Hmm.
from the commercial close to the financial close
Hmm.
to actually for projects to proceed, you know, from one stage to the other.
Hmm.
And the direct agreement is not something that should be, you know, should be taking so long uh, to negotiate and to
Correct.
conclude. So
Correct.
financial close would actually take place, would
That's true.
actually happen.
That's true. One point that you mentioned, Jannat, I fully agree to that. When you mentioned about the speed of decision making. I've been interacting with a lot of decision makers. I'm based out of India, and I've been talking to not only in India but in Asia region as well as Africa. And my message to them has been very, very simple. I said, we have been saying that it's a new normal that we are living in. The world is not the same which we left behind in January and February. We are not going back to the same world. And when we say that, I said, why can't we also think about it that if the markets have changed, if our lifestyles have changed, definitely our businesses also have to reciprocate in the similar way. And when they want to reciprocate, I said, businesses have to reciprocate the speed of decision making. Now, considering the impact of the pandemic, it has to improve. And what you mentioned is correct. We cannot be doing business the same way we used to do in 2019 or before the pre-COVID-19 world. And
Yep.
if we really want to see growth back again, we need to improve decision making and make sure that the speed to market is faster, and we have faster execution of projects, because that is very, very important. That's what I see. Jannat, my last question to you, I don't know, I mean, if you would be able to put some light on that, but I'll still go ahead and ask about this, that currently across the world, we are seeing digital transformation a lot. I mean, every country is investing a lot on digital transformation, on their processes, on their systems, and a lot more other things. So, do you have any idea with regards to what steps is Kazakhstan taking in the area of ICT implementation, like information communication technology and digital technologies? So, do you have any information on that if you would like to share with us?
Kazakhstan has adopted another program, which is called the Digitalization of Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Samruk Kazana, the National Wealth Management Fund,
Mm-hmm.
is the entity responsible for its implementation.
Okay.
Now, a lot has been done,
Mm-hmm.
and yet a lot is yet to come.
Mm-hmm.
And this COVID situation and the pandemic situation has shown to us all the requirements and all the needs, because we all of a sudden realized that a lot of government services are still not digitalized. We
Yes.
still have a lot of villages in the outskirts not equipped with the broadband in order to provide children with online education.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things we realized we were not ready. We thought that we had them digitalized, but
Correct.
they had some flaws.
Okay.
The good thing is that uh, these things have been quickly realized,
Mm-hmm.
and actions are being taken right now to close those gaps.
Okay.
And this is something that I think is a good development out of all this
That's good.
situation that we are in
Exactly.
right now.
Exactly. Situation has forced us to adopt basically the digital transformation. I mean,
Yes.
it's a good thing in a way, one positive that has come out of this COVID-19 pandemic. Well, Jannat, thank you for the time. One thing last I would like to ask you is P3 World Council is committed to partner with countries, governments, and ministries and authorities, even private sector stakeholders in regards to advocating the cause for PPPs. We have been sharing a lot of content on a platform. Would you like to give us a small feedback about if this content has been, how it has helped you, or I mean, where we need to improve, what we need to do further? I mean, that can help us, in taking it to the next level.
I love your posts. I really do. I read one today actually
Okay.
about the use of PPPs in providing the public education, and I liked it a lot. The
Okay.
story itself is quite compelling,
Yes.
about an old and dilapidated school building that
Yes.
has been refurbished
Mm-hmm.
and is now a modern educational facility. So
Correct.
these insights are very useful, and
Okay.
I do appreciate them, and I would like to thank you
Thank you.
with all my heart for providing them. I think these are indeed very important, and
Yes.
I do encourage all my friends
Mm-hmm.
and all my colleagues to subscribe and to read. And
Okay.
what I also like about your posts is that they are in the format. The
Okay.
format is just so simple and so easy to absorb.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of bullet points,
Mm-hmm.
um, one page,
Mm-hmm.
but quite thought provoking. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for them.
Thank you for the kind words, Jannat. Our one of our endeavor, basically, when we thought about, when we bring these posts is, go to any part of the world, our lives are the same, our needs never change, and our challenges are always the same, and we all learn from each other. So that's why we
In,
thought maybe something that has happened in some remote part of the world can definitely be a learning to someone in a different remote part of the world. And that's why we make sure that we, bring in case studies and information that can be of help to, because you never know what solution can be of help to anyone who is facing a similar problem. So that is one of our ideas behind it. But thank you. We are glad that the posts are beneficial to you, and we look forward to have your engagement on our posts on the platform. And as I said to you, we are definitely coming up with some mega plans for 2021 with P3 World Council, where we look forward to redefine PPPs and bring value to all the stakeholders who are associated in the PPP ecosystem. Thank you so much, Jannat, for your time and taking time out and sharing with us a beautiful and an in-depth perspective about the Kazakhstan and the Central Asian market for PPPs and business in general. Thank you so much. We wish a speedy economic recovery for your country, and be safe and be healthy.
Thank you very much for having me, Harshal, and for
Thank you
your
so
kind
much,
words.
Janet. Thank you. Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you for your time on the call. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.